Hey everyone, it's Brooke. Welcome to the channel and the video and my 2019 bookish goals. I've decided it's not too early for this video, and I've made my little list in my little notebook, and I'm going to talk about them because that's what I want to do today. So number one, these are in no order either. They're in a bad order probably. Number one is to use the library more. So I have normally used the excuse that the library was too far away, too much traffic to get there, and those were true things. But now that I've moved, I live maybe a 2-minute drive from the library. So that's not a thing I can claim anymore, so I'm going to be using my library often. The problem right now is I've got to go get my driver's license renewed and all this stuff because of the move and because it's expiring, and yeah, but once that's done, which will be in December when I have some time off, I am gonna be a library user again. Thank goodness for the bank account, right? Number two, I want to continue the goal of, oh, I just remembered one. I want to continue my goal of reading my book of the month selection every month on time before I get the next one. I fell a little bit behind at the end of the year, but I have been making up for it. I'm going to finish Silence of the Girls today, and then I have 2 more book of the month books from this year to read, both of which I plan to read in December, and then I'll be completely up to date and get back on track. Number 3, organize these guys. So right now they are they're organized in a certain way, kind of. Not the way I want them to be though. So I want to work next year on really figuring out how I want these shelves to look and where I want things to be. Yeah. So that's an ongoing year-long project. I'm always organizing them anyways, but I really think I'm sort of, after having lived in the space for about over 6 months, not about 6 months, 7 months, whatever, I think I figured it out, at least, maybe, we'll see. And so maybe I will do some videos about that. Who knows? Could be interesting. I've already started getting a lot of requests for bookshelf tours. I don't think that's ever gonna happen because I'm way too lazy when it comes to filming things for that to be on the docket. Sorry. Number 4, my Goodreads book goal. I never thought that I was a person who would stress out about reaching a number, and I always picked a number that I thought was incredibly easy for me to reach, but this year tested that, and I'm now in December and haven't quite, it's a weird card, I haven't quite met my goal, and I'm going to unless I die. But I felt a little stress around it, entering the month knowing I still had to read five books, and I'm just going to lower it down from 75 to 52 now. 52 should be fine. Yeah, I don't want to stress over that. Number 5, replace old classics with new copies. So this person's just riding around with their window down in the rain with their turn signal on, looking at things. It's very strange. And they went that way and then they came back. Anyway, these are things that happen when you don't edit and you just get to kind of live this life with me. So yeah, I have this row of shelves right here. It wraps the entire row across the back are classics. The classics that I have decided to keep. Some of them I love them and I won't be replacing them, but several of them are literally from my used college bookstore when I was using them as textbooks. They're falling apart, and I want to, now that I kind of have this room and this space, to slowly kind of upgrade them to nice copies. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing that slowly but surely, maybe one a month. Nothing crazy. And then number 6, keep in mind a genre variety. So I thought I was doing an okay job of that this year, but realized actually I was just leaning really heavily on fantasy. I had been leaning really heavily on literary fiction, and then I kind of just switched to fantasy, and somehow I thought just going to fantasy felt like variety. It's not. So I need to make sure that I'm hopping around my TBR shelves are over here, that I'm going all over the place. To that purpose, I have these shelves organized by genre, and I think what I'm gonna do is sort of hop back and forth through the shelves, you know, like go through the shelves, pick one book each shelf, and then cycle back around. And I think that will maybe keep me with some good variety, and it allows me to choose between a big selection of like 20 books each shelf or whatever it is, so that I don't feel like I can find something that I'm in the mood to read on each of these shelves, but I just need to make sure that I'm sort of spacing it out and not just staying up here in this corner. Yeah, maybe that's how I'll do my reading. I don't know, sounds fun. At least it's a direction to think about. And then number 7 is for my book club, my in real life book club that I run. I want to work on having, I feel bad saying less social conversations. I mean, these are my friends. I'd still want to socially keep up with their lives, but I want to concentrate more on the book. We always do talk about the book at some length, but I want to have better conversations. I want to have more conversations about books I bought, like a card game to that end. Like, I think that will help garner some discussion. I think what I'm going to do is ask better pointed questions during the discussion, which I need to work on. I feel like that's probably on me, and I think if I start doing that, I think other people will maybe join in. Ask maybe one of the card game questions each meetup. Hold on, I'll show you that game. Okay, so I bought this. This is from Bookright. This is called Lit Chat, conversation starters about books and life. Specifically for a Christmas party, my book club Christmas party, but I think I'm going to start incorporating it at every monthly meeting because it'll be fun. And then you just choose one card. They all have like a book on the cover, and then on the back is one question and then follow-up questions. So like maybe concentrate on one. So this would be like, what do you love most about books? And then the follow-up questions are, what's your preferred reading style? Are you a fan of hardcovers, paperbacks, ebooks? What determines your choice? So I think that could be fun. And then I also want to implement a thing where we talk about something other, like maybe like what was your favorite other thing you read this month? And it could be anything. It could be a magazine article, it could be song lyrics, it could be a poem, it could be another book, so on and so forth. So thinking about things like that, and just have our meetups be very book focused, and then maybe here and there have more social only events, which we tend to do anyway. So that's something I'm thinking about. Hope you cared. Write more is number 8. That is, for me, I think I'm going to start writing reviews for most of the stuff I read again. I miss it a lot. I think writing a review helps me. I'm better in writing. I think orally my brain struggles with it a lot more. Writing, I take a lot more care with my words. I think my thoughts just come out clearer. So I think writing reviews before I do videos on books will probably help me in my talking points quite a bit. So I'm not gonna go back to my blog because I don't really want to do that, but I might start doing them or posting them on Goodreads. Goodreads, maybe. We'll see. And I hope that leads me into more creative writing as well, because I enjoy creative writing, and most of the creative writing in my life has been fan fiction. But I don't really have like a fan fiction or like a fandom that I want to write for right now, so I think maybe my own original work might be interesting to try. I've written a lot of original things, not like novel length, but like short stories or just the beginnings of things. I've outlined a lot of stories. I want to make a dedicated effort to give writing a more consistent, to give it more consistent attention. So that's a goal. Number 9 is, so I love the Tournament of Books every year. You can Google that to better understand it if you don't know. I'll probably be talking about it in greater length as we get closer to the time. But basically it's a take on March Madness, so there's a bracket, but it's also a take on like book awards and sort of the arbitrary nature of them, and it just sort of owns that arbitrary nature, and books are chosen just by whatever, you know, the judge of the moment, whatever they feel like picking. And it's such a great space on the internet. There's such great discussion in the comments of the Tournament of Books on their website. And I always enjoy reading it, but I've never really engaged personally. So this year I think I'm going to make some Tournament of Book themed videos. I think once the short list is announced, because there's 76 books on the long list. I'm not reading 76 books. I haven't read like hardly any of them. But once the short list is announced, I think I'm going to take 2 or 3 that I am really interested in reading, and maybe doing vlogs about them, talking about the shortlist in general. And yeah, so that's a project goal. Oh, there's another thing. I'm just remembering these as we go. It's good to know. Okay, number 10. I think I am going to have, I mentioned this earlier and I never did it, but I think I'm going to do a Fandom Fridays. Maybe not necessarily every Friday, but I think it's a good sort of quick video that I can put up on certain Fridays when maybe I don't have something else to post, or there's something I just really want to talk about, where I can take something in my life across any media, just anything that I'm a really big fan of, and just talk about it. Have a short little, maybe 2 to 5 minutes. Here's this thing I'm really loving. It might be an actual fandom. It might be a product. It just whatever it is, and talk about it. And I think those are fun because they let you know more about me as a person beyond just books. And then number 11, I vow before you today to stop apologizing about the stuff I read. And I've been seeing a lot of videos on BookTube in general where people say they're going to talk about a romance novel and they immediately start apologizing for that, and like, oh, well, you know, I know this isn't great literature, and you know, it's not the best thing ever written, but it's really fun. So, you know, I'm not going to do that anymore. If I read romance and I like the book, I just want to sit here and talk about the book and why I loved it, and I don't want to spend a minute or 2 minutes of my talking time apologizing for that. So I know I do that. I know other people do that. Just why are we doing that? Like, I don't need to tell you it's not the greatest book ever written. What the fuck is the greatest book ever written? Like, nothing is. So I don't know why I feel the need to say that before certain books, but not all books. So if you catch me, yell at me in the comments. Number 12, stay up on the series I'm reading or sequels. Like, I did okay this year with this, but I really I don't want to be reading the first book, buying the next book, and it languishing there for years. Like, I want to have sort of a dedicated effort to, if I start a series, to move through the series. And then the last thing, at least that I have remembered to talk about, is number 13, lucky number 13. I used to do a thing every year or I had a project book. It's typically like a big book I always meant to read, and I worked on getting through it slowly and surely over maybe a few weeks. The last time I did this was 2015 with Les Mis, and I loved that. I loved doing that so much, and I still think about my Les Mis experience a lot. You know, I tweeted a lot about it. My book club, the girls in my book club still talk about it. Like, we loved when you were tweeting that, you know, and it was a really joyful thing to do, and I haven't done it in a while. So I'm going to do it again this year. I haven't officially chosen the book, but I think it's going to be Jill Lepore's These Truths, which is not fiction. It's going to be my first time ever doing a nonfiction with this, but I want to read it so much. It came out this year. I love Jill Lepore. She's one of my favorite writers at The New Yorker. I really want to read a female written history of the US, and seems like a good option. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so those are my baseline goals. That's what I'm going to be kind of striving towards. And yeah, so let me know what y'all are thinking about doing in 2019. Let me know if you think any of these goals are outrageous, either in a positive or a negative way. And I will talk to you guys next video. Bye.